They say what a difference 4 years makes. Well, that's in DC anyway. In college football, man, what a difference. Two 2 months makes. Just 2 months ago, people were outside Ryan Day's house with pitchforks and torches, ready to run him out of town. And now he is the conquering hero of college football. Ohio State is your 2024 national champions, or 2025, however you want to put it. Doesn't matter. They are the reigning, defending, undisputed national champions. And, well, Blaine, what did you think about that game Monday night?
I mean, I called it. I called it from the beginning. I had Ohio State win it from the start of it.
Yeah, I was really out after Tennessee. Well, not even like completely through Tennessee. After the first like two drives, I was like, "Oh, this is a different team." That Ohio State was the fighter that just went berserk after seeing their own blood. Michigan drew that blood, and then Ohio State just went off. They throttled Tennessee, throttled Oregon, beat the tar out of Texas, and controlled Notre Dame for 3.5 quarters. The last 3.5 quarters, I should say. And the, I mean, in this run that Ohio State has had from Tennessee to Notre Dame, I would say is the greatest run in the history of college football. Because you have top quality team after top quality team, and the tougher path in the college football playoff, the toughest one we have ever seen. And they not only won games, the backups were getting snaps at the end because they were up by three, four scores. I mean, what say you?
What?
I
I didn't hear
mean,
what you said.
this run that Ohio State's been on. Uh, I
Huh?
mean,
I
you,
told you freaking. I told you as soon as the playoff was announced, I thought they were gonna win it. Like
uh,
I don't know why I had a feeling from as soon as I saw the bracket, I was like, they're gonna destroy Tennessee. They're gonna get a revenge game on Oregon. I didn't think they were gonna blow them. I
yeah,
don't think anybody predicted Ohio State to be up what was like 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, damn near. Like
yeah. I
I
mean,
I couldn't predict that. I couldn't predict them being up 34 to freaking 8 at halftime.
yeah. I mean, it
Like
was
I thought they were gonna win just because that first game was so close that I knew Ohio State was gonna come out pissed off and want to smack him in the mouth. But I didn't think it was by that, but
that wasn't a smack. That was a closed fist, brass knuckles, hardened by ice, just right hook. And I I didn't doubt that Ohio State was going to win the game Monday night, but that Notre Dame defense is stout, it is solid, and it kept their hopes alive for much longer than what it should have. And
Jesus.
Will Howard, he came in firing on all cylinders, and going down 7-0 to start the game and to respond like that is massive. And then with Ryan Day and not losing his cool, not going into full panic mode, they he was able to rally the troops and get them to play their best football when they needed it most. And also with this 12-team playoff, for the first time in the history of college football. College kids are now allowed to grow up in the season. They don't have to come into the season completely buttoned up and ready to roll. We don't even expect that out of the NFL teams, full grown adults. We don't expect that. But in college, over the last 154 years, that's what was expected. Come out of the gates completely buttoned up and ready to roll. And you cannot mess up or it's over. And with Ohio State, that was proven with losing to Michigan and still being able to bounce back. With Notre Dame losing
Yeah,
to North
that's so funny about this year. This year we saw both our national champions both lost to a team that barely made a playoff game
that barely made
or
a
barely made a bowl game.
yeah by the hair of their chinny chin chin. And then you have Northern Illinois, who is in the middle of the who finished in the middle of the MAC, beat Notre Dame in South Bend. I mean, this era of college football, just from the 12 team playoff perspective, is it, it is gonna it has fundamentally changed the way that you approach the season because now you can play with more things. You can try more things because if you lose that big game at the beginning of the year, it's not it's not game over. It's well, we tried it. It didn't work. On to the next. And that rivalry game, you can lose that game and be okay. And it's and yeah, it cheapens the rivalry a little bit. It takes a little bit of the fire out of it until they meet again in a playoff game. And then that fire burns twice as hot as what it would in the normal regular season circumstance. Because not only is it win or go home, it's win or go home on a neutral site. Imagine Ohio State, Michigan on a neutral site trying to be cordial enough to have a football game. Imagine Alabama Auburn, Alabama LSU. Is that even possible? Can there be enough cordialness to have a football game on a neutral site with that kind of hatred among teams, among fan bases?
I mean, Ohio State, Michigan being the freaking Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
We would have two teams from the East Coast playing the Rose Bowl.
And and honestly that's what it was that's what it's meant to be. That would be truly the granddaddy of them all.
And then we'd have LSU and Alabama playing the Sugar Bowl, where it'd be mostly LSU fans.
Yeah,
Fuck, put them in the Fiesta.
right. You need that crappy feel. You need that crappy turf. That way you got a shot.
The
But
fuck, I don't want to tear my guys' ACLs.
yeah, what's another ACL for an LSU player?
Whoa. Whoa. Speak for yourself.
Now, uh, now, I will say, especially with Notre Dame and Ohio State, they have now proven something I didn't think was going to get proven, at least not this early. But you can have a transfer quarterback come in and win the championship year one. I did not think it was going to be something that was plausible enough, especially this early in this era of college football with the transfer portal, with the NIL, simply because with a lot of the schemes now, it takes a it takes a year and a half to really get it under your belt. Bo Nix, so much better in year two. Joe Burrow, so much better in year two. Jaden Daniels, so much better in year two. It's
And year one was the better chance he had in a playoff game.
yeah, oddly enough, ran into those pesky Bulldogs. But yeah, I mean it it was quite it. I was very surprised by it, but they also had a little bit of a perfect storm with Quinn Ewers, who isn't as good as what people are saying. You had Indiana, who was also with a first year quarterback from the transfer portal and a first year head coach, which I would expect Indiana to be close again next year. And then you had Georgia, who was down Carson Beck. And Gunnar Stockton's good, don't get me wrong, but
That's
it,
a tough place to make your first start.
it's a tough place to make your first start. And on top of that, you're getting absolutely no support from the run game. And the your offensive line and defensive line is getting mauled each and every single play because the Georgia Bulldogs football team is as soft as they come now. That's the reality. And then Penn State 50-50 game. Drew Aller was the one that made that grave mistake late, and then Riley Leonard, just an absolute baller from since the Northern Illinois game. I mean, if he could have had another year of eligibility, he would be a Heisman favorite. I
Uh,
and I would say more than anything, he could be that next Dak Prescott, Tom Brady drafted late, turns out to be a superstar because I see not quite as a physical, well, he's just as physical, but not quite as big of a Josh Allen type. He's a good runner. He can throw. Doesn't throw the prettiest ball, but it's spot on, especially when it needs to be. And so let me ask you this: who would you draft first between Howard or Leonard?
Probably Riley Leonard. I liked myself from him.
Yeah, Will Howard. He was he was obviously tremendous. Had the best start completion wise of any quarterback ever in the national championship game. Going starting the game 13 of 13.
Yeah, like he had an incredible game. I liked the fight Leonard because he fought
Yeah.
all game long. They were still there. He led the team in rushing.
I, and I do think that Will Howard could easily just as much be that diamond in the rough as well. Um, somebody San Francisco could pick steal. Las Vegas could steal if they had some sort of a brain. Um, Dallas, Green Bay, they would be tremendous projects to bring in, let them sit for 2 to 3 years, and then when your quarterback finally retires, or you realize, oh yeah, this starting quarterback we have now sucks. Let's turn to Will Howard. Let's turn to Riley Leonard. Let's see what we got here. And and I think both of them seriously helped their draft stock Monday night. And Ohio State, they're losing most of the team to the draft outside of Jeremiah Smith and maybe some linemen.
That's a
But
habit right now with national championship teams.
Well, yeah, because they got all grown-ups at that point. It takes a lot of grown-ups. Now, Notre Dame, on the other hand, they got the best of both. They got the best of most worlds. Riley Leonard isn't coming back, but they're getting a lot of people back though. And
Yeah.
this is going to be a sustained success from Notre Dame, and it's going to be sooner rather than later that they finally get over that hump and win a national championship. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was next year. So, got any other thoughts on the national championship game?
No, not really. It's the fact that Riley Leonard led the team in rushing.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy. He had 40 yards rushing, and he was the leading rusher. I think that tells a big story about that game.
yeah. Ohio State's pretty freaking hard to run on.
Yeah. What type of
Now,
Broncos offense this year?
now, with Ohio State winning the national title this year, Michigan winning it last year, and both Ohio State and Michigan knocking off premier SEC teams along the way. Are we seeing a shift in college football that we're not turning back from? Is the SEC run officially over?
No,
No.
no. They had one bad year, and the best team, Alabama, had a new coach. They'll be fine. And Georgia would have probably beaten Notre Dame if they didn't lose Carson back.
You could have Tom Brady at quarterback. Your your offensive line gets mauled like that, you got no shot. Beck wasn't going to help
Yeah,
that.
but Carson Beck is probably at least one or two more touchdowns. At minimum, probably one touchdown. He's another 10 points. And you have to think if Carson Beck's in the game, they probably don't have as many mistakes on offense.
Maybe. Well, speaking of Beck, what did you
Last
think
thing,
about
because Stockton, go ahead.
what did you think about him transferring down to Miami to be with his lady friend?
That's where he transferred to.
Yes, went to Miami to
It was a clown show.
be with the Cavender
One of
twin.
those girls he was Snapchatting.
The it's I think it's Hannah Cavender, but I mean if I'm an NFL GM, you just had a season like that. Your personal life is now essentially on TikTok. You make the decision to go to Miami, a place that hasn't had any sort of championship shot in 22 years, where and you could go anywhere you want in the country. You chose there instead of staying with Georgia, who has a history of sustained success. You pass over Ohio State, who has a history of sustained success and has an opening at quarterback, and you decide to go to Miami, who doesn't invest in their football program because your girlfriend, well, I guess I should say your girlfriend's twin decided she was going to run away from TCU to come back to Miami and play with Hannah. Yeah, I'm not touching Carson Beck if I'm an NFL GM. I'm going nowhere near that. That is a clown show. That is a TMZ nightmare waiting to happen. I I can't I would I can't no shot. Not touching them. Not in the first round, not in the seventh round, and none in between. Thank you. Next. Anything else to add, bud?
Nope.
And so with the NIL coming into full swing, and Michigan is now fully jumping on board. Ohio State, they jumped fully on board last year. Penn State, they're going to be jumping on board here soon in the next year or two. The I would have to say this SEC run is over, and the Big Ten era has arrived in in a huge way because
Yeah,
the collectives that Ohio State and Michigan, Oregon, Penn State, USC that they can garner is far more than what LSU and Alabama is going to be able to bring in. The reign that Alabama has had, that is over. The the
yeah, but
split.
buying players isn't always the best thing though. They still have to play on the field.
Well, Ohio State, they only Ohio State and Notre Dame, they got the formula right, and it's just like having that star freshman phenom in college basketball. You have veterans that have been in the system for a couple years. You bring in that star player to fill in that hole, and you go. It now more than ever, it's about the culture. Ryan Day, he's good at establishing culture. Sharon Moore, we'll see. Jury's still out, but I have some faith in him. I still got a little bit of faith in him yet. And
Oh, that's okay.
Brian
I have
Kelly,
something to add to your little.
what's up?
I just found the rankings for what teams have invested the most money into next season.
Oh, I'm guessing
The
Michigan won.
Longhorns have invested 22 million by Texas.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to Arch.
Ohio State 20 mil, LSU 20 mil, Georgia 18 mil, A&M 17 mil, Michigan sixth.
Yeah, M Michigan's gonna be. I don't think those are updated at least by the time this cycle is done and over with. Um,
Yeah, there's still a
because
long way to go, and I believe that's what that said.
but
And
the
it's estimates. That was from December 12th.
okay, so right around the time that uh well actually that was before Underwood flipped.
No, he that was after he transferred.
Oh, that was after he
He's literally
flipped.
the pitcher for Michigan. Yeah, he's literally the pitcher for Michigan on this team.
Okay,
This was
okay,
right after he flipped.
okay. But the but yeah, once Ohio State and Michigan go into full swing, the Alabama and LSU, they're not going to keep up. Oh, LSU and Alabama, they're running bake sales and car washes to get get enough money in the collective to be able to pay these guys. Ohio
I think
State,
those teams have a lot more money than I think you realize.
Ohio State and Michigan has millionaires and billionaires that want to see their team win. Michigan State has a couple billionaires that want to see the Sparty win. Wisconsin has millionaires that want to see the Badgers win. The Big Ten, it well now it's nationwide, but as far as alumni go, they've been nationwide. You go to Florida, there's Ohio State bars, there's Michigan bars. You go to Arizona, same case. Vegas, same thing. You have Ohio State bars, Michigan bars. Like there are truly three national brands in college football: Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Yeah, LSU's a popular brand in Louisiana. Alabama, a popular brand in half of Alabama. Fact of the matter is, they don't have the wealth in alumni to be able to keep up with the Big Ten. Right now, it's close, only because Ohio State and Michigan haven't unleashed hell yet, and as of now, they haven't had to. We haven't seen we've only seen the tip of the iceberg that the Big Ten has, that the Ten can do.
Yeah.
What's up? You got that grin like you got something.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I still think it's gonna be like that.
I I'll go this far. I do not think an SEC team that isn't Georgia or Texas will win a national title in the next 5 years. Georgia and Texas are the only
Yeah, we'll
team
see.
Georgia and Texas are the only two teams that have a shot at a national championship in the next 5 years.
Because again, like I said, NIL don't mean shit because you still gotta have players that can hit the field and play. You can have all of the money in the world. If those players can't play, then it won't make a difference.
And they're going to be able to play because Ohio State doesn't just rely on the portal. They do recruit. They Ohio State and Michigan, they do recruit. They do develop, and they use the transfer portal to fill holes.
Yeah.
They're not building the ship with the transfer portal. They're just filling holes. And yes, one is going to whiff
LSU
every
not either. LSU
part.
had like the top recruiting class for last year or for this year, upcoming season, before the portal.
They are at the top or close to the
They were
top.
one of the top three. Uh,
I didn't, um,
oh, that's gonna be a pain. No, 2025.
so, okay,
The number
so,
one team was Texas. Number two was Georgia. LSU was down. LSU was down to eight.
okay. I'm on the On3 website and they have LSU at
I'm on
7.
24/7 Sports.
Okay. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
goes Texas.
I mean, the NIL hasn't gone into full swing yet. It's certainly coming. It's certainly coming. But once NIL comes into full swing, that $20 million that they're spending on the collective is going to look like chump change. And Nick Saban knows that the SEC is in trouble. That's why he ran out of town. Like, yeah, things look good now, but oh my God, the crash is coming. And we saw a little bit of that. Who's after Jalen Milroe? Who's after Garrett Nussmeier? Nobody worth mentioning.
Hmm.
I mean, you had the guy, and then Michigan was like, "All right, bet you fill out the rest.
But I'm not worried about it.
You fill out the rest of this
I really
check."
wasn't worried. I'm not worried about stuff because LSU had quarterbacks in their system that are going to probably end up being the next guy. Yeah, he'd have been nice, but I mean, looking at our quarterback room, that was the end of the world. We had because LSU had the top recruiting quarterback for 2 years, and he was the second year. So he one of them was going to have to transfer. He just sold it for us. Like
Yeah,
LSU had the top quarterback recruits for 24 and 25. Like
yeah.
they were in a good spot with quarterback. It's just a matter of getting Nussmeier out of the way.
Should
And
have
he still has one more year.
which he's using.
And that's the thing. I think he's going to be a lot better next year if it was his first year starting. Because LSU right now is on a run of year one, the quarterback is really good, but they don't get the job done. Then year two, it's a Heisman Trophy right now.
Yeah, but
Like that's happened with our two last actual quarterbacks.
no, I wouldn't say Burrow. Burrow's kind of outside of the mold because that was such an odd situation.
Well, he was a transfer.
It was
Like
still
he's the one that started the run. Like if it wasn't for him, because he kind of turned it to where LSU quarterbacks were taken seriously for the first time in history.
no, Joe Burrow was taken seriously. Like it
Then how come we had another Heisman Trophy winner less than 5 years later?
because Jaden Daniels is that good and Brian and fit perfectly in Brian Kelly's system.
Yeah,
It's two separate eras, like two completely different set of circumstances.
yeah. I guess we'll find out now, won't we?
Yeah, we
Agree
will.
to disagree.
Yeah, have fun going 8-4.
As long as the defense can make one stop, that would be. Because shoot,
But
because you remember hearing me at the end of the year, 'cause I was pissed because it was like, yeah, we changed our defense at the A&M game, and after that, we looked awful.
yeah,
Like we shut down Ole Miss when Ole Miss was like the top offense in the country. Changed the defense, and then we couldn't. We couldn't stop Florida's offense. Like, come on.
hey, look out for Florida next year. They're gonna be a solid little ball club.
And and the funniest thing is the biggest thing that LSU did is they changed who was calling the defensive plays. Like, bruh, you change your defensive play caller after you beat the number 16 in the country. You're sitting in a golden opportunity to make the playoffs, and you change it right before the A&M game,
And it all goes
and then
downhill
everything
from there.
went downhill so fast.
But
And the
yeah,
funniest thing is even after the A&M and Alabama lost, if we would have won out, we would have been right there at like 15th in the rankings at the end of the season. So it really pissed me off.
yeah. Well, moving on to the NFL. He had one interesting game in in Buffalo. Had a nice little fight to the end. You got any
Both
thoughts?
games on Sunday were good.
Yeah. Um,
Rams and Eagles was a good game too.
and then you could tell the NFL script writers were there at they're in Kansas City. Holy cow.
As always.
Like so with with the with Kansas City Houston, did the refs change the outcome of the game? I don't think so. But
Mm.
oh my God, did you have to make it that freaking obvious that this was a one-sided situation? And
Like my biggest problem with it is they are so good as a team. Like I don't like it as I'm a Broncos fan, but the Chiefs are so good and Mahomes is so talented that they don't need the help.
yeah,
They
I
have
mean,
enough help by having the greatest quarterback in the 2020s. Like they don't need more help than that.
and quite frankly, if I'm Buffalo going into this weekend, I'm telling my defensive guys, hey, if you're in the vicinity of Patrick Mahomes, crack him. You're gonna get the 15 anyway. You might as well earn it. Crack
Make
him.
it worth it.
And with the thing is with in that Kansas City Buffalo game, they have done something that we are not used to seeing Buffalo since Josh Allen got there. They were relatively boring. A lot of running the
Yeah,
ball,
Josh Allen's played smart football.
not having to rely solely on Josh Allen to go save us this game. Is that enough to tip the scales away from KC and into Buffalo, even at Arrowhead? Is that running game going to be good enough to get past the two-time defending champs?
I hope so.
I'm putting you on the spot. Pick the game. Who you got? KC Buffalo.
Buffalo, what the f is that even? What kind of question is that? You
I,
should
fi-
already know who I'm taking.
I figured you'd go the unbiased route and pick KC.
I'm still just being unbiased. I'm taking the Bills.
Well, the same reason you're taking Buffalo, I'm taking KC.
Of course you are. Get us the bandwagon who wants to join on whatever team's doing good.
Hey, look at the name. Patriot. We were one loss away from the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah? And Jerome Mayo had to say fuck you on his way out.
Yeah, yeah, that he did. But hey, we got our coach. We think we have our quarterback, and we're all
Drake May's good. I know you didn't watch him that much this year, but Drake May's pretty good.
yeah, I had more important things to do on Sundays.
Like what? I'm not gonna say it on air, but
I was gonna say go to church and watch racing,
that's what it is. There's a chance it's snowing free again this week.
but yeah, and then as far as in Philadelphia, my goodness, it, do you trust Jalen Hurts to get Philly through this game? Through this game?
I don't know, especially if how Jane Daniels been playing. If he plays as good as he has the last 2 weeks, he's
We're,
not going to keep up.
we're
The
on
Eagles' offense has not been able to score or not been able to up.
we're on back-to-back weeks where Jalen hasn't looked like Jalen. But because everything else in Philadelphia is so well put together, it didn't matter.
Hasn't mattered.
This time around, it still may not matter because Washington is outgunned, but Washington was outgunned last week, and they still came out with a victory in a big way, in an environment that is much more hostile than Philadelphia, because those Detroit fans were craving for a victory
Yeah,
and they
they
expected
thought they
it.
had it. They thought they had it before the game even kicked off. They thought it was going to be 18.
Yeah, I mean, I
And to be fair, with the year the Lions have had, I would have thought the same thing too. But they were so injured. Like
yeah
that's the massive difference for me between the Lions and the Eagles. Is the Eagles are pretty healthy considering where they're at.
yeah
The Lions had injuries all over their defense. The offense was pretty good, but the defense was completely depleted.
yeah. Um, are you brave enough to go out on the limb and say that the commies beat the Eagles and go to the Super Bowl?
Always win. Always win.
You're picking the commies outright.
You should already know I was.
All right, I'm gonna put $1,000
I
bet on the money line.
I got my favorites this week. I got Bills, Tommies. It's my only two options at this point. Although whoever wins the NFC side, I'm probably rooting for in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
But
I
either way, my two teams this week are Bills, Commies. Is my dream scenario.
hey
I already know we're gonna get Chiefs, Eagles because that's the NFL ones.
yeah the
I ain't dumb.
yeah I mean hey, if the Patriots are in the Super Bowl is just a promissory note that the Daytona 500 is soon to arrive. That's the way that I look at it.
Hey, Super Bowl weekend for me is Outlaw season open, so I ain't beefing.
So,
I just gotta wait 2 more weeks and I get sprung.
and then we never hear from you again.
I think the counter was 17 days until the Outlaws kick off in Volusia.
That'll be an
Might
interesting
be
one.
less now, but
But
so I
eh,
am
eh,
ready for that because it's how my Super Bowl weekend kicks off is with sprint cars for 2 days, 4 days.
and then we get the Tubi commercial that gets innocent people yelled at.
Whoa.
Be honest, were you the yeller or the yelled at when that Tubi commercial happened a couple years ago?
I was just confused. I'm like, what is going on? I grabbed the remote. I was like, what the just happened?
I yelled at my stepbrother.
You broke your TV.
I yelled at my
You
stepbrother.
kicked the TV. You kicked the TV in.
Not that time. It wasn't Super Bowl
No, that was
40.
just
It wasn't Super Bowl
that
4.
was after the Philly. That was after the Philly special.
I I I I don't want to have these memories right now. I'm supposed to be in a good mood. Ohio State won the national
I do.
championship. I had a lot of money on Ohio State winning the national championship. I'm in a good mood. Don't be bringing me down.
How much money did you put on Ohio State to win the national title?
A hundo,
How much money did you get out of it?
200,
So you just made like a friendly bet?
somewhat.
What do you mean?
It was plus 100 odds. So whatever I
Oh,
so whatever I bet I won, I got double.
you were gonna get oh.
But anyway, the so the Eagles. So we're we're both rooting for the same team on the NFC side. We're opposed on the AFC side,
Who are
but
you rooting for in the NFC?
Commies,
Okay. So yeah, Tommy's Bills is my dream scenario. I don't know why the fuck are you rooting for the Chiefs?
because the Bills are the Patriots division rival.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are about to be the next dynasty after the Patriots. I just
So,
told my buddy at work the other day, I was like, after how annoying the Chiefs fans are, about how much they get away with shit from the refs, and they just like ignore it like it doesn't happen. I miss the Patriots dynasty so much.
trust me, I miss the Patriots
Like,
dynasty too.
that's the thing about it. The Patriots, yeah, I hated them at the time, but now looking at it, they were not this annoying about it.
Yeah, because we just wanted our clam chowder.
Like you guys won games, and you guys didn't like ignore the fact that you guys were getting the refs help. They
Well,
Patriot fans acknowledged it. They were just like nothing we could do about it.
that in the first like 15 years of that dynasty, Twitter wasn't a thing. So,
Now it's every time I go on there, it's on a Broncos post, and there's Chiefs fans talking about how we lost. It's like I don't give a shit that we lost. I was just happy to be involved. It's like sex. I'm just happy to be in the situation.
yeah, well, you got to put the explicit tag on this one. Thanks, bud.
That was
Uh,
funny. Just shut up.
but
It's
the
accurate though. If you're in the playoffs, that's all you're worried about. You don't care if you make it, especially for a team like me who hasn't seen a playoff game in 9 years.
God, I couldn't even imagine going that long without losing my mind.
Like I'm just happy to be back, and with all the stuff that the Broncos have going on right now with the rookie quarterback, we'll probably be back next year again too. So
Yeah,
really can't complain too much. We are on the up and up finally.
yeah,
All they took is a decade.
yeah, yeah. The Broncos are definitely one of those teams that's on the launching pad. And speaking of teams, soon to be potentially entering the launching pad onto bigger and brighter things, the Chicago Bears have hired Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, the quarterback whisperer who resurged Jared Goff's career, is now tasked to do the same thing to Caleb Williams in Chicago. Is it going to work?
Have you s- have you seen how much money they're paying him?
I have not seen the contract details.
He's the seventh highest paid coach in the league,
Yeah, I can see it. The Bears are desperate.
and he's the highest paid first time head coach in history.
Yeah, I can see that too. It's
They did not announce a years to the deal. They just said it's $13 million a year, but they didn't announce anything else.
hmm, interesting. The
I mean, I like Ben Johnson. I think he's a great head coach. But my biggest word is Caleb Williams still.
I'm not so much concerned about Caleb Williams. He showed he showed that he's got the talent to hang around in this league. I You could certainly make a case that Caleb Williams is good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I
Yeah.
think he is. Um, is he everything he's cracked up to be? I don't think so. But watching and seeing Ben Johnson and really looking at offensive coordinators, he makes me incredibly nervous because he's got this like weird quirky side to him. Uh, he waited very long to finally take a head coaching job,
Well,
and
because he said multiple times himself that he wanted to win a ring in Detroit.
well,
That's the only reason he stayed there that long. He could have gotten a job the last, I think, 2 years. He could have gotten a job, but he wanted to try and win something.
and
And
and and you decide to go to Chicago, where they haven't won a ring since '85, and
haven't been relevant in 20 years almost.
mm, haven't been relevant. Yeah, haven't been relevant since
Their last
that.
Super Bowl appearance was literally 19 years ago.
God, I feel old because I remember that.
I remember that game too.
It started off
And
so. It started
my
off
knees pop just
so.
thinking about it.
Jesus. And I'm just slightly older than you. So thanks for that. But yeah, I mean the last time the Bears were relevant, Rex Grossman was the quarterback.
No, it was Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler in like 2011 was the last time they made it to a championship game.
Jay Cutler being interesting and the Bears being relevant are two different things.
I mean, hey, he took him to a championship game.
Where they got smacked by Green Bay.
I don't think they got smacked. Now I have to look at it.
He I know Jay Cutler got hurt early in that game and they had to go to the backup, and then he got hurt and they had to go to the backup, and it was a mess in Chicago. That was a mess of a game.
Okay, I
But
just want to see the score. That
but
is
like
not the score.
but
It was
uh,
21-14.
really,
It was a very close game. I remember that part because it was like almost snowing. It
hmm,
was freezing or something like that. It was a really odd game.
hmm, interesting. Wasn't didn't know that. I thought it was a bigger blowout, but nonetheless, the
Yeah,
thing
that's
with
about that game. The wind chill was 7 degrees.
yeah,
That's what I remembered about that game.
kind of like what it is about how it is right outside right now for me. But like with Ben Johnson, there's a lot of quirkiness to him. Uh, he's got a little bit of Josh McDaniels, a little bit of Adam Gase. Uh, and I'm that's what I'm most concerned about. Josh McDaniels, tremendous coordinator, but when it comes to being the head coach, I have serious concerns about it. You
Yeah.
I I don't know. I I'm gonna lean towards flop because A, first year head coaches always flop unless you're Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. But on top of that, you have a rookie quarterback and you're going up against Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy twice a year, Jared Goff twice a year, and Jordan Love twice a year. That's a recipe for disaster. And I want no part of it if I'm trying to stake my career on it. I no part of it. You with me, Blaine?
Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed that doesn't lose for me too.
Yeah. You got anything to add on Ben Johnson to the Bears?
No, because I like the move. I think he's can be a good head coach, but I just don't know if Caleb Williams is the right fit for his offense. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. We'll find out in
I mean, that's the thing, because he didn't really grow Jared Goff. Jared Goff is already good. He just got Jared Goff to like the next level is Detroit. Because Goff wasn't bad in LA. Like he wasn't great, but he was good. Like he
yeah.
took him to a Super Bowl. Like I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, that defense that year was incredible for the Rams, but you still have to have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like you still have to get there.
And on the other end with Detroit with Ben Johnson leaving and potentially Aaron Glenn leaving, that's going to be an issue because Dan Campbell's not an X's and O's guy. He's a team motivator, and losing a coordinator like Ben Johnson, that that is a franchise killer unless he can find somebody too competent to replace Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of star powers that want to get their numbers, and you got to have a guy that can manage that. So we'll see if that's something that they'll be able to do. Um, I I can't confirm it because I haven't seen it yet, and my computer's too slow right now to check. But I think Josh McDaniels is off the market. He is going back to New England.
yes, he is.
Okay,
I know you're
so
excited about that.
I'm hey after the offenses I've seen over the last 2 years, 2 3 years. Welcome back, Josh Poo. We kept your we kept your house warm for you. It's still there. You can come home now. And but the yeah, I mean you have to find a good X's and O's guy that is good but isn't ambitious enough to leave as soon as
Yeah.
you get offered. And the one guy that fit that mold is now off the table. So we'll see what happens on that end. Um, you got anything to add to that one?
So
All right. Well, with that being said, I think we touched over everything, right? That we were planning on.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So if you if you could make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that comes up. If you're watching on the X, make sure to like the video, retweet it, and follow my X. And if you're listening on podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Google, Alexa, all the other ones, make sure to download, follow the podcast so you don't miss any of those. Until next time, we'll see you.